Okay, so let's get right into it. The US-Iran conflict has just escalated at a shocking speed. We're talking about a complete shift in US policy, a military campaign that spiraled way beyond its original scope, and the entire Middle East is now sitting on a knife's edge. And this is the statement that just sent a massive jolt through Washington and really the entire world. In a press conference, President Trump used this term, yips. It's something you'd hear about a golfer who can't putt anymore, to signal a huge break from decades of American foreign policy. He's making it unbelievably clear U.S. ground troops are now officially an option. So what does this actually mean in practice? Well, for years, the standard playbook for any U.S. president was to shut down any talk of a large-scale ground invasion in the Middle East. That era, it seems to be over, at least for now. Let's really dig into how big of a change this is. I mean, you can see the difference right here, clear as day. On the left, that's the old way of thinking. An absolute no way, no how rejection of putting boots on the ground. But on the right, that's the new policy. Now, it's not a promise they'll invade, but it's a very deliberate choice to leave that door wide open. The president even said he probably won't need them, but that little phrase, if necessary, well, that changes the entire strategic game. And you should know, this is not just the president thinking out loud. The Pentagon is right there with him, completely in lockstep. At a pretty tense press conference, the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth just flat out refused to put any limits on their military options. He even called it foolish to tell your enemy what you won't do. So the main takeaway here is that this is a unified, administration-wide position. So how in the world did we get here so fast? Well, the answer is in the military operation that started this whole thing. A campaign that turned out to be way more successful and way faster than anybody thought was possible. Let's take a look inside Epic Fury. The operation's official code name is Epic Fury. It all kicked off in late February. It was a joint mission between the US and Israel, and it was designed from the ground up to be this huge, overwhelming blow against the very top of the Iranian regime. And the results of that first strike? They were just absolutely staggering. 49. That's the confirmed number of senior Iranian leaders who were killed in that first wave. And that includes the most powerful figure in the entire country, Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. This was a true decapitation strike. Here's the crazy part. The campaign was so brutally effective that it hit its main goal in just a tiny fraction of the time they'd planned for. What was supposed to be a 4-week mission to take apart their command and control was pretty much done in a few days. But that success didn't end the fight. Oh no, it just made it bigger. And this might be the most important development of all, because that early success led the administration to just tear up the original plan. This is no longer some limited surgical strike with a clear end date. The conflict has moved into a totally new and much, much more dangerous phase. Those 3 little words from the president, whatever it takes, that's what officially killed the old 4 to 5 week timeline. It signals a new commitment, an open-ended one that shifts the whole mission from a quick strike to a long-term effort to tear down Iran's entire military machine. The Pentagon always has its own jargon for this stuff. When reporters pushed the defense secretary for a new timeline, he just called it a fluid situation. Now, whenever you hear that from military leadership, it's code for there are no limits. There's no exit strategy we're going to share. This war is just going to last as long as we say it needs to. Of course, a military operation on this scale doesn't just happen in a bubble. The consequences are already hitting hard, both in terms of human lives and in the absolute destabilization of the entire Middle East. And we're now seeing that human cost. U.S. Central Command has confirmed the first American casualties. 6 U.S. service members have been killed in action, and another 18 are seriously wounded. The president has acknowledged these losses and basically told the country to brace for more. And the backlash across the region? It was immediate, and it's been violent. Iran and its proxy forces are hitting back hard. We've seen drone strikes on a major Saudi oil facility, the U.S. embassy in Riyadh was attacked, and American personnel have been hurt in Bahrain. And just to show you how chaotic things are, 3 American F-15s were actually shot down by accident by allied Kuwaiti air defenses. The whole region is a powder keg right now. This isn't just staying in the Middle East either, not by a long shot. The shockwaves are going global. Energy markets are in a total panic. The State Department is telling American citizens to get out of more than a dozen countries. Critical airspace over huge travel hubs like Dubai and Abu Dhabi is now closed, leaving tens of thousands of people completely stranded. This is now a full-blown global crisis. So, with the conflict blowing up and the region in chaos, what is the actual point of all this? What's the end game? Well, the administration has laid out some very ambitious, very aggressive goals for what it wants to achieve inside Iran. The military objectives they've stated are just sweeping. First, they want to completely annihilate the Iranian Navy. Second, they want to destroy every single one of Iran's ballistic missile sites. And third, they want to permanently, for good, end Iran's nuclear program. These aren't goals about containing a problem, these are goals about completely dismantling it. But, beyond all the military targets, there's one final, huge objective looming over everything else. The president has now explicitly called for regime change. He's on record urging the Iranian people to seize the moment and take back their country. This basically frames the entire military operation as a way to spark an internal revolution. So that's where we are. We've gone from what was supposed to be a limited strike to an open-ended war in just a matter of days. The goals are total dismantlement and regime change. American ground troops are a very real possibility. And all of that leaves us with the one terrifying, unanswered question. With no timeline and with all options on the table, where does this war actually end?